So I welcome you to this preview video of Italy Serie A match day 17, and we may quickly review the results as well from match day 16, and just to recap somehow, do we evaluate the games right, or do we have to adjust something here or there? And in the Milan Salernitana we had a 2-0 win. Computer was 1.36, which was a bit above average or maximum or so. So if anything, Computer would have advised us to go against Milan, which I didn't do, because Salernitana are just at the moment like filled somehow in Germany. They are not good enough, and somehow they tend to be losing, so no advice here. In the Roma-Inter, I was pretty well decided to go with Roma. We had the problem here that midweek they also, with bookings and so on, Mourinho lined up all the important players, and Tammy Abraham and also Ricard Storp, who is very strong recently. Well, at least couldn't play, and also Pellegrini had been injured, and so a couple of key players had been missing here. And I watched the game, and it was pretty clear-cut affair, although Roma did have their chances here or there. But anyway, I mean, a corner went straight in from Çalhanoğlu after 14 minutes, and from then on, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can hardly justify this one. Napoli, I went with Napoli. We see this here in the prices, whereby the average is also close enough, but Atalanta played an incredibly good game, and although Napoli turned it around after they had been trailing early on, and still lost in the end. So, I mean, it looks pretty regular what I had here as prices, but still I advised Napoli at 2.55, which I've also gone for, and although they turned it around, they lost the game. And also Bologna-Fiorentina, Computer was not so good with this one. We have many goals, away wins again, a couple of them, which may partly go down to the, again, crisis. I'm not sure. I mean, less spectators, although in Italy there had been a couple still. Spezia Sassuolo, usually we are happy with the draws. Here I went for Sassuolo, who conceded the equalizer very late in the game, more or less in the injury time. So another bad one. And also Venezia, they were 3-0 up. I disadvised, I disapproved here. And although they were 3-0 winning, and my son made a bet there, which I didn't, but anyway, I can't blame him. And he did that in agreement with the figures here. And 3-0 winning and still losing was pretty unlucky as well, although they were red card. So on, Sampdoria-Lazio, a 1-3 defeat here, 2.25. I think we did not get involved in this one. Juventus-Genoa, once again, here it was very one-sided, with no shots for Genoa. I think we can look it up here. And 27-0 and so on. So here I think I even advised to draw, well knowing that of course such very high prices you rarely ever get hit, but and here I can hardly justify it. So it was pretty bad what my computer said here. Also in the Empoli-Udine, we went for Udinese and were winning at halftime and still lost the game. The only one that had been a good one, which still makes up for a couple of bad ones, was the Cagliari-Torino, which I also watched on Monday. Well, it was late on Sunday. Anyway, well, was it the last one on Sunday? I thought it was Monday. Oh, 6, that is Monday. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I watched it. It ended in a draw, so we can be happy with this one. But of course not with the other results. I'm afraid I have to Hmm. I mean, so in this case, we have to say, not doing so well. We should be a lot more careful then, and still we can try to evaluate the games like that. And also, I set up this different alternative method here with a statistical approach, which I've applied for Germany as well. I've done for a couple of years. They are going to be implemented into the tool that you saw here, which is, once again, to remind you, this is my Betmaster tool that you can also, it is there as a web app. So if you follow the link, you can get access to this as well and get this on your screen where you can bet all the markets, or we are adding more markets to that in the future. But there are plenty of markets already where you can bet on both teams to score, over, under, Asian handicaps and so on, which are the most common lines or betting markets to bet on. And so of course as well you may happily like my videos and subscribe to my channel, but you should check out the tool, which is really still, although we saw some bad results, is performing quite well, but it depends on your settings. So, and anyway, if we would have a look here at the ranking that I set up here, it is actually not that difficult to set this up here or to adjust it, because the goals for is usually, I mean, you get a very good approach as long as you divide the goals, the games they played by the goals they scored, and divide the games they played by the goals they conceded. And so you have these two values here. Of course, it is after a couple of games now, they played plenty of them, so they more or less played against partly all the teams in the league, but still it's just an approach. But this is something where you could start from, right? Where you can measure the strength of the team. And then you have a total is the sum of these two, and the quotient is this. This is what it's ordered by. And as Napoli lost and also didn't perform so well, while Inter won their game in very good style, they even overtook Napoli now in this ranking. And so on. And Juve are still in third place, which, yeah, they improved their results. Milan, Atalanta, Roma not so good at the moment, and especially Lazio are, as they had been already last season, not so good. And we can compare this with the evaluation of the statistical method. Here it would still say Napoli are even better. Of course, this is rating all the games with the same. So it's not a development in there, right? The first match day weighs as much as the last one. So the improvements that Inter have gone through, while Roma and Napoli both are slightly going down, this is not reflected here. Still, you get a pretty good idea of how good they are. You can compare that. For example, we can witness here that Torino are playing pretty well. Also, Fiorentina are playing well. And the one is proved as well that Milan are not playing so well, which market always used to state here somehow. And we saw it on Tuesday as well, when they were beaten by Liverpool in a must-win game. Anyway, we can so we have a different or a second evaluation here. This is carried forward, or this is used for evaluating these games with the statistical based method. And if you complain somehow that you would like to have that in the tool, you have to be a bit patient that it's going to be there in a while, and in a short while, I hope. And for now, it is not perfect here. It's just to have to show this approach somehow, right? And it's, in fact, it is calculating how many shots they will get, or how many on target, and how many shots inside box, accurate passes, attacks, dangerous attacks, corners, possession. I also evaluate other parameters here, or characteristics, but those I rate to be important. And then you see here the weight totals, and from those they have to convert their chances with this conversion rate, and this turns it into goal expectancies. And we can compare these and check out what the old or the result-based model says to that, and what the statistical based method says to these games, and or thinks about these games, or how it compiles the prices. Now we have to check out the prices here, and of course we should not really spend too much time on this derby, but we see as well, right, this is Genoa, and they play the same stadium, so we shouldn't care too much about it. But we see here that the computer is in full agreement, so I don't need to worry, in fact, right? Here we are pretty happy with Wednesday's predictions. I leave them there. And anyway, we wouldn't have a bet there. If we want to compare it here, computer says here it is pretty even, which I would happily accept. So if anything, this new statistical-based model would say somehow we could go with FC Genoa, but I would disapprove, because it is this very special derby. Although this should be with a tendency to be more equal than other games. So somehow the statistical-based method is also right or better on that. If anything, FC Genoa. Fiorentina, we have 164, which is above market. See that here, 134. So this would go for Salernitana. I already said so, that I would not do this, because they are just, I mean, they concede the goals, they are not playing well. But we can also check that. We have the comparison here with the old method here, 1.97, 0.87, which is 1.1 goals to the good for Fiorentina, but here it's 1.5 goals. So we have quite some margin for adjustment, and this would somehow also verify that Salernitana are no good, while Fiorentina are. So those figures would come a lot closer to market. It would, in fact, actually confirm the market prices, so we wouldn't have any urge to go with Salernitana, which we don't do. Venezia, and Juve here, it says 146. We check out what market says. It says 140, so there is no real indication for 82, 865. It will be close for 82. Okay, it would almost say here a draw. We can check out here, but we will most likely see this being closer. This is not such a good, right? So this would even say that Venezia are even a bit closer. This is because Juve did not play so well all season, but they are settling right now. So if we had this update week by match day by match day, then maybe we would even agree with this, with the old and new methods. They would come up with a similar price. Udinese, Milan, computer would almost say here maybe Milan, and we check that out. That's 191. So we might consider with the result-based model, but we compare this as well. Did they play any good? No, they did not. Here it agrees a lot more to market, or would even tend to go with Udinese. So we have quite some mismatch here, which makes me, of course, confess somehow that market is a lot better, because they notice, which had been going on all season now, but I went for Milan a couple of times, so I may, and which I won sometimes, so I may have been lucky there. But now I know why market has this tendency. Of course, with this method, we intend to improve our method. If it turns out that we can't beat market anymore, then that's maybe a bad conclusion, but we have to check that out. Maybe we get confirmation here or there where market still goes wrong. In Torino, Bologna, we have 230 here, 334, 331. I have to check out with this method further. First of all, so here it would say you can try with Torino, right? And we noticed already that they performed really well, and we compare this here, and here it would even make it a bigger edge for them. So in this case, we would have not just a confirmation, but even more than that. It tends to be even lower on Torino. So this, of course, forces me to select Torino here. Although I have to admit here as well that I saw them both playing a couple of times, and I liked them both. So Torino were pretty strong, but also Bologna made a very decent impression to me. So this is why I understand market somehow, but still all the stats and whatever I can squeeze out here tells me I have to go with Torino. And of course, if you have this confirmation, then you even like your bets a lot more. In Verona, Atalanta, here it would say we could try with Atalanta, which I'm very impressed by. They have to play today on Thursday, when I'm recording this video, because they couldn't play on Wednesday night because it was too much snow. I don't know how it's going today because it's snowing here. This Bergamo is north of Italy. But this, of course, is speaks against them, and also these values here speak against them. So I would obviously disapprove then for this one, which I in fact would have liked. I mean, I know here as well that Trent is our friend in some sense. So Atalanta seemed to me they improved a lot, which would have also been reflected here, which is all season performances taken together, and this is not the proper evaluation. It's still giving us a good idea how well did they play, and Verona did play well, and also we have the fact that Atalanta have to play the midweek game, so we do not bet them, although there is a actually pretty good point, but they need a win today, in fact, to knock out Villarreal and stay in there. So it's an important game on Thursday, and they have to play again on Sunday. Napoli-Empoli 138 looks like very proper price to me. I'm still pretty convinced by Napoli. We can of course check this one out here as well. 2.06. Well, it is a bit lower, but also Empoli lower, but of course the price would then rise. But we are close enough to market to not do anything anyway, so we are not gonna bet this one. And Sassuolo Lazio, well, Sassuolo improved by quite a margin as well, while Lazio are really struggling. And we check out, I mean, here it would still say we could possibly go with Lazio, which I would not fully disagree to, but we have to check it here. Anyway, and here it even says Sassuolo our favorite. This looks a bit funny to me here, of course, but it would prove somehow that Lazio are not playing well. I mean, this is the biggest disagreement I ever witnessed here, and I mean, I would fully confirm, because I saw Sassuolo play a couple of games. They won at Juventus. They beat good sides recently. I mean, we can check it out in the tool, of course, but I never would have guessed this. But Lazio didn't play well, so I have to. I mean, we only see the last 8 games. A draw at Spezia, where I went with them and I was unhappy. Sassuolo, I went against them. They also killed me. They won at Milan. That was one of them. They drew with Cagliari when I was with Cagliari, so that one was fine. They lost to here. They won at Juventus, beat Venezia. Well, they beat Juventus and Milan and drew with Napoli, which are pretty good results, but they also have a couple of bad ones amongst. Obviously we have such a deviation here, which is also confirmed by the way totals, which means Lazio on the road and stuff like that, right? So I mean, I'm of course I have to justify somehow how can there be such huge differences, but I don't need to too much in the sense of do we want to make a bet. What I would need is to justify my algorithm somehow. But as you noticed, this method here is going a bit different paths, and Lazio do not have such good statistics also on the road. This may be important, but while Sassuolo may have had some very good efforts, we can check it out here. Which side is even the better one? Sassuolo are here, while Lazio are here. So here it would tell me that even Sassuolo are better or played better to this end, which is, of course, we have to check out as well at home and on the road. And here you see that Lazio had been pretty okay at home, but are terrible on the road. So this is the basis for that. I mean, I would not change my mind now and go with Sassuolo, but the only tendency that I would have then would be Sassuolo. And of course, we have to implement the algorithms first to see the development and get those updates and stuff like that. But here it wouldn't be in favor of Lazio, I'm sure. Inter Cagliari, we have 132, which is above market, and Inter were very impressive also at Milan. They did play quite well. Rome at Real, they lost 2-0 though, but which wasn't that important. But here computer would strongly advise us to go against them or to go for the draw. I think Cagliari drew 4 games in a row now, right? They are drawing all their games, which is of course also, I mean, they are not awful then. Of course here they are way behind what they expected, but it means now they lost 8 games, but they have not lost the other 8, so they are not awful. Inter also here or there with a draw, so I mean 7 point something is a very decent price, and we can check it out here what this system says about it or thinks about it. It more or less agrees to these evaluations, right? To the evaluation here, 2.89. Why am I going back? In fact, here we have even a bit bigger of a superiority, which still most likely would not kill the draw. If you like such bets, go ahead. I mean, we could as well, in fact, go for the X2, but Inter are pretty well focused. Any such bet here would be indicated, right? So also 1.5 or whatever it is, right? But we could go for the 5.17. Cagliari had been better, but also Roma recently. Inter are pretty strong most recently. And the last one, which is the last one? Roma against Spezia, 132. Here it would tell me to go with Roma, which I have to do. But check out this one first. 230, 1.05. So disapproved here. And I have to accept that, of course. I mean, I will have to. Anyway, if I was euphoric for a second, that was because my Roma are playing, and I still like them, and also on, of course, they couldn't convince me against Inter, but still I see a couple of very good points about them, and also statistically they had not been awful. But this refers to Spezia as well. So we have to stay away from this one as well. Anyway, I'll leave you with this. We only found 2 bets where actually just one of them is pretty well confirmed. The Inter is not clearly confirmed because the statistical method says they are even better and they even improve. They make a very stable impression, while Cagliari are obviously shaky. Still, and 517 we wouldn't hit every day. But that's the whole story here so far. So thanks for your attention and see you pretty soon next week for sure. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.